He works in ways that sometimes we don't understand. So we're looking at things from the point of view of Elohim. And to see things and walk in our lives, or walk through our lives from that point of view, will bring us life. Now, the other side of things is that this is carnal, but it's also Satan's point of view, which leads to slavery and bondage. And if we consider also that it's the same thing, but this time we're going to get with a negative, okay? Because now it's no longer life, but now the wages of sin is death. That is the absence of life. Now I know that 6 minus 6 is 0, minus 6 is negative 6, but we're considering it that we still have 666, but it's the reverse of 6 plus. So we're considering that it's a negative. And if we look at things from our carnal point of view, we often miss the things that Elohim is trying to tell us in our lives. I have one person that I know recently went back to a job that had been working at this job for quite some time, and they left this job because they were having some hardships with that job, and they applied for another job, and the other job has called them and asked them to come do this and fill out an application and have an interview, and they've even put this person's name in the computer, but they've taken no steps to hire. Went back to work at the place that they were working part-time, and they've said, we want to raise your pay almost $1 more than it was, and we want to give you 32 hours a week. Okay? But this person is still harping on, this other job's going to call because this other job has benefits, and this other job has this, and this other job has that. But here's this job that, well, I'll give you an answer in a week because I'm going to wait for this other job to call me. Instead of saying, okay, what can I do with what I have? Sometimes our Elohim will tell us something that doesn't fit into our point of view, won't fit into what we want, doesn't fit into what we aspire to accomplish, but it fits into where it blesses our lives, and if we will pay attention, we can walk in that blessing according to His Word, according to His will, and according to what He has laid out for us, that we have a choice to make in Shin. And it's like we said in Resh, whose authority are we going to pick up on? Are we going to pick up on Satan's authority? And Satan really doesn't have any authority. He simply places it out there and entices us and says, this looks a whole lot better than this. And then we choose this and realize that we should have stayed with what we had. Okay? So Shin is two sides. Elohim's point of view or our point of view. And whenever we see things like that, get behind me, Satan, it's telling us something that, okay, we need to look in here. What two point of views are being shared in here? Everybody with me?
So when you see the 666, instead of being in fear of it, you should be enlightened with it.
All right.
Okay.
You know, we
knowing it could go two ways, though, right?
Right.
Depends on your walk.
Right. And we see the 666, you know, everybody says, oh, the mark of the beast and Revelation and this and this and that. It was a Jesuit priest back in the 1300s that turned the book of Revelation into a futuristic crystal ball.
Right.
Okay? Revelation tells us to pay attention, is what it's saying. 666 is telling us to pay attention. Because the subtlety of Satan, I showed you what I'm about to show you before, but the subtlety of Satan is very quiet, and it changes our lives suddenly in that we recognize this emblem, usually in green,
Right.
being on drinks, the monster drinks.
Right.
On the side, it says, "Unleash the beast." People go crazy over drinking monsters, not realizing what they're getting or what they're holding in their hand. Not that drinking monsters is bad. Well, I mean, yeah, they're bad for you and they taste nasty, but, you know, and
It's the power of your words.
monster, that's not for me to, you know, try to do your advertising, but the subtlety of it is that it's an upside down shin. And we look at things that we unleash the beast, we see things from Satan's point of view, and we want to just get wild in our lives, as opposed to paying attention to Elohim. All right. We all good? All right.
Can I continue on that thought? You said sometimes he'll tell us something that doesn't fit into our point of view,
Right.
but if we pay attention, would you continue that thought?
Well, you know, oftentimes we're impatient. We're impatient to wait. Or we have the answer, we're living in the answer, but the answer is not good enough. So our point of view is that, you know, I should be living this grandiose way, or that I should have this thing, or I should have that thing. When in reality I have this, and it's working for me, it's not hurting me, it's actually blessing me. There's the question. Do I look at this thing that's actually going to disrupt my life, cost me more, throw me off balance, or am I going to stick with what I have? And okay, I used this example the other day, is that I have a bill that I need to pay. Okay, let's say an electric bill, that's an important bill to pay. Or I have a doohickey that I really want. Okay? God's point of view tells me that I should be a good steward with what I have. I should take care of my bill. The flesh, the enticement, and, you know, Satan doesn't attack us, but he places it there in front of us. The flesh, the other side of the point of view, is saying, I would really like this doohickey, and I can pay the electric bill later on or at another time. So I buy the doohickey. And I buy the doohickey not realizing that, well, yeah, the electric bill is due, but something that I didn't think about also pops up being due at the same time. And now I'm trying to figure out how to pay both of these things and how to juggle this. And now, you know, I'm in jeopardy and I'm stressed out and I'm strained, where if I'd have left the doohickey alone, paid my electric bill, the other thing pops up, I could simply say, I'll pay you in a few days. Most creditors are okay with you paying them in a few days if you'll tell them. But now you have two things that you have to pay and not enough money to pay them both.
Mm-hmm.
So that's considering shin. Okay. And the last one.
How do you spell shin?
Oh, shin. Shin. Shin is, well, we said 360.
360.
360. You know, that we have to pay attention, and sometimes we have to turn around in order to. But anyway, the next letter that we come to, and it's the last letter that we come to, is Tav. Let's put it up a little higher. This Tav has some stuff to it. Tav. Now Tav has a numerical value of 400, but can also have a numerical value of infinity. Okay? It is the 22nd letter of the Aleph Bet. Now, The first time that we see Tav as the root of a word in Torah is in Genesis 1:2, and the word Tohu, which means deep, means a dark place, a deep, dark place. Tav is the furthest point from the Aleph. Okay? So Tav represents something or a state of being that puts us at our farthest point from Elohim. Tav means, well, it represents a vehicle of sacrifice. The Proto-Hebrew pictograph of the Tav was simply an X, but it represents the covenant, a covenant marker. A lot of people would simply, this was their signature. But Tav represents the covenant marker, and it also represents the vehicle of sacrifice. Now, if we consider those two things, we consider that Yeshua was the way, the truth, and the light. He was the Word made flesh, and that Yeshua gave his life willingly at the vehicle of sacrifice. We can say, we can't decide whether it was the cross or the stake or whether he was nailed to a patibulum and hung on a tree. The fact is that he gave his life on a vehicle of sacrifice. And when he spilled his blood, that vehicle of sacrifice became the covenant marker. So not only does it represent his death, but it represents our life in a new covenant. And it's the thing that pulls us out of darkness. I think, several months ago we saw I did Jacob's ladder for you. And when we're at the top, we are at our farthest point from the Aleph. We're at a point where we don't have anything left. We finally get to a point where we cry out to Elohim. And in Jacob's ladder, we see that there were messengers coming up and down. And we see that when we cry out to Elohim, that it's the Aleph that descends to us, so that we are in the presence of the Aleph and the Tav. Isaiah 41:12, I want to say, Elohim is speaking and he says, I am the first and am with the last. Okay? This is interesting that he was with the last. Okay? In Revelation it tells us, I am the first and the last. Why would he say, and with the last? Because we understand that in the beginning was the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim, but that the Word became flesh and tabernacled among us. The Word is the last, the Aleph and the Tav, the Aleph Beit. And that when Yeshua gave his life, that he went from being the Son to being the Word again. But now it is, I am the first and the last, because the Word will never have to do what it did at the vehicle of sacrifice for us again. And this is what turns the Tav into a beautiful thing for us, is that we can now enter into covenant because of what Yeshua did at the Tav. Any questions on Tav other than how to spell it? And Tav, we spell, which is 406. The word is infinite, and the covenant that we have with Elohim is also infinite. It will not cease to exist. The covenant that we had with our Elohim from the beginning keeps going on and on. We broke the covenant. He did not break the covenant. All he did was renew the covenant, restore the covenant to to where it was, and this is why Yeshua said, not one jot or tittle will pass away. So, being aware of the numerical values and the meanings of the Hebrew letters is not magical or mystical. It is to open our eyes to be able to perceive and understand what Elohim is saying to us throughout His Word. It also allows us not to simply read the Bible, but rather it allows us to receive instruction and direction from Elohim in a richer and much more meaningful way. We say that, and y'all have seen this before, but let's take what we've learned and take a look at, let's take a look at the first verse of Rashid, or of Genesis. Let's see how these letters play into it. That we have, and I never write big enough for this, but we'll try it. Rashid. We have Bara. Elohim. Et. Mayim, then Bayet, I might make it. Then we have Eretz. All right, we made it. Yay.
Wow.
Okay. We have the first verse of Genesis. In Hebrew, it's 7 letters. Always been 7 letters, will always be 7 letters. Okay? Or I'm sorry, 7 words. 7 words. Always has been 7 words, always will be 7 words. It's 28 letters. Will always be 28 letters, always has been 28 letters. In English, well, we get sometimes 9 words, sometimes we get 10 words. You know, I've seen one that was 11 words long. But in English, the translations change, so we get different words. 28 letters. 28 letters is the gematria of the word let's see if I can spell it right here and we'll be in business. Is the gematria of the word koach. Now koach means power, means strength. Okay? So something in this verse is going to show us the power and the strength of our Elohim to do something. There is 7 words which represent what? They represent the rest, the 7th day He rested. They represent the sword, so they represent protection. And they represent the nourishment. Okay? By this we have the letter Zion. So something in this verse, we're going to find that Elohim has the power to bring us rest, to bring us protection, and to bring us nourishment. So we take a look at this and we say, okay, how? So we go first and we consider that in Bereshit, if we look at it from a kosher Torah scroll, the Beit is enlarged. Right? That's the first thing we're going to look at. Why is the Beit enlarged? If we looked at rabbinical commentaries, particularly those from Akiva, we find that it's a representation of the fact that the Beit is encased by the letter Pei. So, Pei means word, it means voice. Beit means house. So now we're looking at either the voice of the house or the word over the house is doing something. Well, this has authority. There's the resh. So we have the word over the house or the voice of the house has the authority of who? Yod He Vav He. What authority?